again. He will not fight Lamont Roach again. He will not fight the female. He will not fight, he will not fight those guys.
Bro, being something that he's not been in the ring with. I'm the total package, and honestly, sometimes I think he doubted himself.
He doesn't really love the sport of boxing. He's very good at it, but he doesn't really love it. And if you just kind of understand it from a job perspective.
Chaos has erupted as Gervonta Tank Davis threatens to pull out his highly anticipated rematch with Lamont. In a shocking tweet, Davis wrote, "I had to see if for boxing y'all can have a #1 spot," sparking confusion and concern among fans. His post hints that he may be stepping away from the sport altogether, putting the fight and his legacy in jeopardy. Many believe Davis has lost his passion for boxing, but this rematch is vital if he wants to cement the reputation he's worked so hard to build. Walking away now would leave lingering questions about his dominance and future. Meanwhile, Lamont wasted no time adding fuel to fire, tweeting that Tank is going to sleep this time, signaling his confidence and determination to prove a point. Fans are now left wondering if this blockbuster clash will happen at all.
So I know y'all been seeing on Twitter that boy Lamont and Tank been going back and forth. And I ain't gonna lie, it's getting crazy, bro. Lamont talking that one stuff and Tank talking crazy. Tank said, "I don't care for boxing. Y'all can have the #1 spot." And that's why I said with Lamont going up against Tank, it's gonna bring, a different type of Tank out, because at first he said he was losing love for boxing and wasn't exciting no more. But now that he's seen that Lamont was skillful and he had to go up against him and everything, and then he almost, could have got over low-key, and people running with that narrative that Lamont was getting over on Tank, he got to make an example out of him. And that boy Lamont Roach said that this time Tank going to sleep, y'all. He's saying this time gonna be different. Ain't gonna be no draw. You going to bed. That boy Tank said that he'll really pull up on Lamont right now. That's how much he's ready to go up against Lamont. I'm not gonna lie, y'all. Now it's starting to look like the old Tank, where he's starting to go back and forth with his opponent and everything. And to be honest, like I said, I'm still standing on it. I think that boy Tank is literally go walk Lamont Roach. He obviously feeling confident because he back talking and stuff now. And we seen that he been in the gym rocking out with Calvin. And then one thing I do want to say about Lamont Roach, he keep on talking about that little moment he had where Tank took the knee. Tank said, bruh, it was because of Bray winning his. If you looking for a win or something like that, you don't even need to belong in boxing and trying to go up against somebody like Tank. It's like you're trying to find any way to say, I'm the winner. That's why I said, bro, this rematch is possibly going to be one of the biggest fights in boxing, because now they went from being like childhood, friends or whatever they was, like working in the same camp, to being rivals now. And one thing I want to say, y'all, is don't be surprised if this fight ends up like the Frank Martin fight versus Tank. Because y'all remember Frank Martin was saying what he was going to do, and he got dropped, bro. I think it's like the 6th or 7th round. I'm telling you, I can see that boy Tank actually taking Lamont out early.
Chaos has erupted in the boxing world, as many now believe Gervonta Davis might be afraid to face Lamont Roach again. Fans and analysts are questioning his willingness to step into this high-stakes rematch, especially after his recent comments hinting at losing interest in boxing. This has only fueled speculation about his mindset. Critics highlight that Davis has a pattern of avoiding tough rematches, like never run it back with Ryan Garcia. Meanwhile, Lamont is growing more confident and outspoken, making people wonder if Davis truly wants to defend his legacy, or if he's trying to walk away before the real challenge begins.
We'll never see that fight happen again. It just will not happen. Gervonta Tank Davis doesn't like hard fights. It's that simple. We've seen it over and over. He fought a Ryan Garcia drained. He fought a very inexperienced Rolly Romero. He will not fight Devin Haney. He will not fight Shakur. He will not fight Pitbull Cruz again. He will not fight Lamont Roach again. He will not fight the female. He will not fight, he will not fight those guys. That's just not who Tank is.
Gervonta Davis's initial performance against Lamont Roach fell short of expectations, leaving many fans questioning whether he still has the explosiveness and sharp instincts that once defined him. A key factor critics point to is the absence of his longtime trainer, Calvin Ford. Without Ford in his corner, Davis appeared disconnected and lacked the usual strategic edge that has helped him navigate tough fights. The chemistry between a fighter and coach is crucial, and Ford's influence has always been seen as a stabilizing force in Davis's career. His absence in this matchup may have exposed weaknesses that were previously hidden.
Tank Davis versus Lamont Roach goes to a majority decision draw, with Tank retaining his WBA lightweight title. Now, I did not score this fight a draw. I had it 7-5 to Lamont Roach. I thought he had the ring generalship and effective pressure. He was landing the jab and effective combinations. Tank, as usual, had a very low output, and he was relying on one big shot. I gave Roach the first 3 rounds, Tank the next 3 rounds, and then Roach 4 the last 6 rounds to win the fight. Not to mention, Tank did take a knee in the middle of the fight. By rule, that should have been considered a knockdown. Yes, it was to get his mouthpiece, and that's why they didn't rule it a knockdown. But anytime a fighter takes a knee, that's a knockdown. And that would have given Roach 1 more point to win the fight. Now, I'm sure they'll run it back. Lamont Roach absolutely deserves a rematch. He just had the fight of his life. He wasn't scared to go toe-to-toe with Tank. Landing his combinations, the bigger counters, and the more effective shots. He definitely deserves a second payday. Now, in the co-main event, Gary Antoine Russell put on an amazing performance. I think he won 11 or 12 rounds against Ryan Valenzuela. Great hand speed, good combinations, masterclass to win the WBA title. And then in the featured bout, Alberto Puello beat Sandro Martin to retain his WBC title. He landed the cleaner left hands, definitely won the last 2 to 3 rounds to edge the fight. But overall, good card. I do think Roach won the fight, though.
Gervonta Davis has often faced criticism for picking opponents who pose little threat to his undefeated record. Many believe Lamont Roach would be another easy win, but Roach proved to be a far tougher challenge than expected, showing surprising skill and determination. Now, speculation is mounting that Davis might avoid a rematch altogether. Critics argue that steering clear of a second fight could be his way of protecting his legacy from more damage, especially after the backlash he faced following his underwhelming performance in their first bout.
I think Tank been cherry picking for a long time, but I think Tank got the talent to be an all-time great. He just don't want to have a resume for whatever reason. So I think this is going to force him to go see people.
Step up a little bit.
It showed, even his fans, it kind of took that allure off. Like, oh, this nigga not perfect. He can't just whoop anybody ass. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, and I think Lamont should have won the fight on the technicality.
Oh.
If it wasn't a knockdown, the ref wouldn't have started counting. He started counting. He only stopped because Tank told him to stop. He told that nigga, no. I'm like, no, stop. Nigga, he was like, oh, my bad.
Yeah. You take away the jabs, Tank landed more. Percentage was higher. I'm all about connection, bro. I think Tank did a better job in the fight. I gave Lamont maybe one of the early rounds. After round 6 or 7, I think Roach put in very good work and kind of matched whatever Tank was doing, or Tank matched whatever Lamont started doing. The technicality, bro, that was
For the first time in his career, Gervonta Davis faced an opponent who truly pushed him to the edge. Lamont Roach's performance was not only tough, but arguably one of the strongest showings anyone has had against Davis. After the fight, Davis's cryptic tweet about not caring for boxing anymore only fueled speculation about his mindset. Many fans and insiders now see it as a sign that Davis might be avoiding the rematch out of fear or self-doubt. The idea that Davis could be intimidated by Roach's skill and growing confidence has become a major talking point in boxing circles.
To override his decisions or knockdowns. Some skeptics have suggested that Willis's call benefited Davis unfairly, but we do not subscribe to that notion. In our long experience judging fights, we see no evidence of favoritism, only a referee prioritizing the physical safety of a fighter who appeared compromised by an eye injury, which I actually get. I understood that statement because, hey, look, Steve Willis he didn't call it a knockdown. Take a knee like that looks like a knockdown, all right? So I think it's going to be very difficult for the New York State Athletic Commission to review this and then call it a knockdown. Because here's the thing. The fight could have gone completely differently if Gervonta was told that it was a knockdown officially. Gervonta could have then responded differently because, let the truth be known, Gervonta didn't even know it was the 12th round when it was the 12th round. He thought it was the 8th.
Forgot where he was at. He thought he was still in the 8th round. He thought he still had rounds to go.
12th round. He said, damn, it's the 12th? Yeah, it's the 12th and you're down. Tank didn't know what round it was. So, if it was brought to his attention by Steve Willis that it was officially a knockdown, the fight could have gone differently, making it very difficult to review this after the fact and overturn it. But the problem is, still, though Steve Willis did not call it a knockdown officially, He also didn't call it a slip.
Take a knee like that looks like a nut.
He had to pick one or the other. And according to the rules, if it's a slip, the referee has to let it be known that it's a slip. Slips. When a boxer goes down and the referee deems it not to be a legal knockdown, they should immediately.
Round 9 of the bout became a major flashpoint when Gervonta Davis unexpectedly took a knee. The moment wasn't ruled a knockdown, which sparked immediate confusion and heated debate among fans and analysts alike. The New York State Athletic Commission later admitted that a technical issue prevented the ringside team from properly reviewing the incident, raising serious questions about the fight's judging. Backlash against Davis was swift and intense, especially after he blamed the knee on grease getting in his eyes. Many fans end by this explanation, pointing out that other fighters, including women, have battled through far worse without dropping to a knee. The crowd's reaction at the venue, filled with loud boos, made it clear they weren't impressed with his excuse. For a fighter known for his grit and toughness, this moment had become a stain on Davis's reputation that won't be easily erased.
Fight fans listening to the moment, Tank Davis says that grease got into his eye, which made him take that knee in round 9, and then listen in as the fans immediately turn on Tank and start booing him. I have one question for Tank. Tank, we have female boxers. I couldn't find any evidence of them taking the knee.
I just got my hair done 2 days ago and she put grease in my shit, so the shit was like, you know, like when you sweating and things like that, and the grease come in my face, it burnt my eyes type shit. Now, why y'all bored like I'm saying bullshit? Like, this is real facts.
Despite the controversy, or perhaps because of it, anticipation for a rematch has skyrocketed. Talks are already circulating that the bout could take place in August, and fans are eagerly marking their calendars. The unfinished business between Gervonta Davis and Lamont Roach has turned this into one of the year's most talked about events. In the build-up to the potential rematch, Davis has adopted a calculated psychological approach, posting cryptic messages and dropping pointed lines in interviews. Many believe these tactics are meant to throw Roach off his game. These mind games suggest Davis is determined to gain an edge before the first bell even rings.
It's signed and ready to go for the rematch, correct?
Y'all can't play so many head games. It's not even funny. Let me tell you something, bro. Lamont Roach has never been this big of a fighter before. Everyone knows Lamont Roach. So he could be reaping the benefits of just enjoying his status of having that draw with Tank, while Tank is the one with the eye of the tiger. Tank is probably in the gym training his ass off. And then sign the contract, like, all right, we got to fight when? June. Oh, shit! Let's hurry up and that ass. Sugar Ray Leonard did that to Roberto Duran. Duran was told that he had a fight in a couple weeks, and he was like, dude, I'm 190 pounds in Panama. Which is why Roberto Duran was out of shape in the No Mas fight and was like, no mas. So Tank could be over there working, sign the contract in 3 weeks, and all of a sudden Lamont Roach got to put a training camp together.
Recently, Davis has been outspoken about his weariness with boxing, mentioning he needs a break, and even hinting at retirement. Yet, in the same breath, he's named 3 fighters he wants to face before stepping away. This contradiction has left fans confused about his true intentions. Is he really winding down his career, or just using retirement talk as leverage? Either way, he's clearly at a crossroad.
Gervonta Davis named the only 3 opponents he wants to face before retirement, one being Lamont Roach, who he already is scheduled to fight next year. So you guys already know that he plans to leave the sport at the end of 2025, but he wants to fight Ryan Garcia again. I wonder. This is exactly why he wants to fight Ryan Garcia again. I mean, look at the abysmal numbers before he fought him, right? And then when he fought Mark, 350,000. This is where the big money is, and of course he wants to rematch Ryan Garcia. And he says he'd fight Teofimo Lopez. He says, yeah, I do feel I slapped the crap out of him. Lopez is the current WBO super lightweight champion, having won the belt against Josh Taylor, which honestly very much surprised me. I thought Josh Taylor was going to win, but Teofimo Lopez showed his skills and his grit, his athleticism, and really just proved that he belonged. You know what I mean? I would say I prefer to see the Teofimo Lopez fight just because we saw him fight Ryan Garcia already. I know with that whole weight thing that he did to him, but honestly, I think Teofimo Lopez will.
The idea of Gervonta Davis stepping away from boxing at this point has stunned many. With his talent and popularity at an all-time high, The thought of him quitting now feels sudden and unexpected. His recent statements have cast doubt over upcoming fights, leaving promoters and fans scrambling to figure out what's really happening behind the scenes.
Tip my cap to Tank Davis. Listen to what he's about to say when asked about his comments earlier, why he wants to retire after 2025. I salute you, Tank, man. This is the realest thing I've heard from a boxer in a long time. Let me know your thoughts, guys.
This isn't the first time Gervonta Davis has hinted at stepping away from boxing. In earlier interviews, he spoke about retiring early, often tying it to personal goals and lifestyle choices outside the ring. Lamont Roach didn't waste any time reacting to Davis's latest retirement talk. He called it a mistake and suggested it would only work to his advantage. According to Roach, any public sign of doubt or hesitation from Davis gives him a mental edge he plans to exploit. Roach remains focused and determined to use every psychological tool to tilt the fight his way.
Yeah, this is my belt. Nah, my belt not on the line.
Okay, you ready?
Yeah, we're
Okay.
Come on.
Everybody back now? Now you guys are on. You guys are on. Everybody, let's go. Thank you. I'm on stage. Everybody else go on stage.
I got Josh.
Yeah. All right, guys.
We good. Appreciate it.
Lamont, how do you feel? How confident do you feel after this press conference? The confidence, I mean, they gave me a little bit more, but my confidence is already through the roof. You know? Like, it ain't nothing to it. It ain't nothing to it. Ain't nothing going to alter my confidence or none of that. My confidence either going to shoot up or it's going to stay like at 1,000. You know?
And I know
You've been fighting for years. What does it mean to get this recognition and get this big fight right now?
I think it's where I'm supposed to be at, honestly. I worked my ass off to get right here, so it's about time.
Lamont, when Tank says that he's going to retire at the end of next year, do you think he has one foot out the door?
Yeah, for sure. I think that was a mistake for him to say that, especially in front of me. So, I'm going to just take advantage of him and show him why he shouldn't have said that or why he shouldn't be contemplating that.
When he talks about you not bringing your family, what goes through your mind when you hear him say that?
I ain't worried about that shit.
What advantage do you feel like you have going into this fight?
Just overall being something that he's not been in the ring with. I'm the total package, and honestly, sometimes I think he doubted himself.
A growing number of insiders believe Davis now sees boxing more as a paycheck than a true calling. While his talent is undeniable, some argue his heart just isn't it anymore. Unlike fighters who relentlessly chase greatness, Davis may feel satisfied with what he's already accomplished. Without passion driving him, his hunger to fight and win could fade fast.
He doesn't really love the sport of boxing. He's very good at it, but he doesn't really love it. And if you just kind of understand it from a job perspective, like I think we look at it and think, okay, he makes so much money, blah, blah, blah. But just from a job perspective, how many of us understand that we're good at our job? It doesn't mean we like our job. Some people just don't like it, and I feel like that's the same with Gervonta. He knows he's good at it, but the love for it is gone. He's been doing it since he was, 6 or 7, and maybe he just doesn't want to do it anymore. And it is disappointing because he's clearly one of the biggest names in the sport. Must be top 3 or top 4 when it comes to sort of revenue and bums on seats and pay-per-view draw, etc., etc. So it is disappointing when one of the biggest names leaves the sport, especially if they leave it when they've still got so much to offer. There's so many big fights out there that would like to see Gervonta have. And I'm not talking about the March 1st fight against Lamont Roach. I mean, Shakur Stevenson, potentially big fights at 140. But I don't know. It's strange. It's a strange one with Tank. He's deleted all his Instagram posts. He just seems to be in a space where maybe he does need to take some time away from the sport. Again, yesterday was very weird to see him turn up to a press conference by himself. I actually like it. I don't think fighters need the big entourage, but it was weird not to see Leonard there.
Claressa Shields recently spoke out about Gervonta Davis, praised his talent, but also urging him to prioritize his mental health. She suggested he seek professional support and take time to reflect before returning to the spotlight. Her comments, rooted in genuine concern, highlight the emotional pressures elite athletes often face. Shields' words underscore the broader need for wellness in boxing that goes beyond just physical conditioning.
Monte's a hell of a fighter, but he needs to get his mental together. When I hear some of his interviews and I see some of the stuff that he's saying, I can just tell that he's not in love with the sport no more. I can tell that he didn't get his just due.
That's it for today's video. Stay tuned for more updates and boxing news coming soon.